Is Peroxide the greatest Roblox Bleach game? Peroxide is another brand new Bleach game that has taken over the Roblox platform by storm. It is currently averaging over 40k players daily, and today I'll be sharing my experience with the game and finding out if it is indeed the greatest Bleach game on Roblox. Without further ado, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let's get straight into this review. Exhibit A, the progression of Peroxide. Peroxide as a game has fairly good graphics and effects, but where the game shines at is through its progression. I personally decided to go holo for the first time ever in a Bleach game because I heard it was worth going in this game. As a holo, of course, you spawn as a fishbone and you are given direct access to Hueco Mundo, which is of course a big wasteland filled with holos and walking. As a fishbone, in order to become a Minos Grande, you must kill fellow holos until you're around level 20 to 25, and then you must kill a red-eyed holo to become a red-eyed holo yourself. During this process, if you die, you lose progress, which is a trend throughout the entire holo progression system. But I pretty much ran through this part, although actually finding red eyes to kill was kinda annoying, but wasn't difficult at all. Once you find and kill a second red eyes, you finally go to Minos, which is what many people find to be the hardest parts of many Bleach games. As a Minos, you are tasked with killing 30 holos and surviving for 30 minutes. Combo this with the fact that if you die during the Minos stage, you are reset back into a fishbone at level 15. Luckily, I was in a CC private server, which was given to all content creators, so this part of the game was way easier than it would have been if I played in a public server. Many people express their annoyances with this system since there isn't any private servers for just regular players. But after the Minos grind, you are now an Ajucha, which I can never say the right name of because I'm not really a big fan of Bleach, but don't get on my head in the comments. But Ajucha tasks you with killing 1.7k holos. Now that does sound like a lot of unnecessary grind for Baszucki, but trust me, it's not as hard as it sounds, and it's really nowhere near as hard as other Bleach games in my opinion. The reason I say this is because each holo is worth a different amount of kills, the least being Fishbone at 1 kill, and the most being Baszucki at 50 and Storm cards with the highest of 100. It took me personally a few hours, but not that much time to be honest. Once you get around level 50, you are able to pretty much solo Baszucki, and once you get around level 70 to 80, you can easily solo Storm cards. I was able to do the progression to Baszucki pretty easily honestly. Once you become a Baszucki, you have to rip off your mask of course to become the final form, which is Baszucki. You may be thinking, is it even worth going holo in this game? I think it is, but let me explain why. In Peroxide, if you get Baszucki, you get buffs that include a 1.15 times stat multiplier, 80% EXP boost, plus 80 to your max HP, and plus 10 to your max level at max potential. So basically, going Baszucki makes the grind even easier since you will have to start at level 1 again. Speaking on that, basically, after you obtain your final holo form, you basically just grind like every other faction by doing mission boards, which include killing different types of holos, which is basically bandit quests in One Piece games, picking up trash around Kisuke's house, delivery quests, which are super boring. Really, the mission boards are nothing too crazy and are just a basic way of you getting to level 1 to just around level 60, where you can officially start doing raids. As well as leveling up, you will have to also start training in the gym as well. The gym is a system that has been in other games to improve your stats. In this game, you level up to build your cap for your stats. Then you'll proceed to do the gym for your specific stats like vitality, agility, strength, and etc. This is how you form your build on the game, and it's pretty unique, but I still prefer just putting my stats in personally. They start you off with your res, so you don't have to do anything special for that. You do have to do a little timed event for your res weapon, however, which isn't that bad as long as you obtain your flash steps. Holo really isn't that hard in Peroxide, and I personally believe that this game has the best holo progression out of any other Bleach game to be honest, because it actually makes the grind worth it, and the grind itself doesn't make your head hurt out of pure boredom. You also have little game modes in the game that you can do as well, which include time gates and of course the raid bosses, Yukiora and Aizen, and you also have invasions too. You can also receive rare drops from these modes too, which boosts your stats as well. Now I will go briefly over the other forms of progression. For Soul Reapers, you must go to Kisuke and make him turn you into a Soul Reaper, and then you go and do mission board quests until you're around level 15, and then you can do your first major fight, which is for Shikai. And this fight, depending on your Shikai you obtain, is either pretty easy or decently difficult, but nothing amounts to what you eventually must do for Bankai. But after you get your Shikai, it's time to grind again for more mission board quests and hitting the gym in the process until you are able to do invasions, which should make you be able to level up even faster and get stronger quicker. Once you get around level 115, you have a good chance of beating your Bankai, which is notoriously difficult for many people and is probably the most difficult out of the Segunda, Bankai, and both standing fights that you must do. But once once you get Bankai, you are basically finished, and you can proceed to do raids or PvP, which is basically the end game for all Bleach games. You can also decide to go Visit in this game if you please. Now onto Quincy progression, which is pretty much the same as Soul Reaper, but once you're able to get Shrift and get your medallion. Now in this game, you are actually sent on bounty missions to hunt different Soul Reapers, which is accurate to the show, which I think a lot more Bleach games need to do, since a lot of the times in a lot of these other Bleach games, Quincy just feels like Soul Reaper but with a bow. Once you kill enough Reapers, which will take about 30 minutes to an hour, you can finally go back to Yawa and get your Shrift. Then you just grind to level 90 by doing evasions and such. And of course, once you get to level 90, you can finally fight your most standing boss, which is easier than Bankai but a little harder than Segunda according to people who have done all slots. You also have the option of becoming a Quincy car in this game as well, which I don't think many games have even done, and Peroxide might be the first. In my personal opinion, I think Peroxide has one of the best progression in PvE systems out of any Roblox Bleach game ever. The competition isn't really there since other games just flat out do progression horribly, but I can say that I enjoyed most of my time with Peroxide as a holo at that, which is always known to be the worst progression path in these Bleach games. The community is also pretty helpful and is way less toxic than Type Souls, and is actually willing to help new players progress quite often, which is always a plus. The game often encourages collaboration as well. Exhibit B, the downsides of Peroxide. As we know, not every game is perfect, and Peroxide is the same case. The big issue a lot of people have with Peroxide is the combat, which is a valid concern, honestly, since it leads to people not liking the PvP, which is the main thing that will keep the game alive. My main issue is the stun-based system, which leads to fights being very one-sided, since you could just combo people to oblivion if they don't have an evasive available. If the cooldowns were too low, it will lead to people getting destroyed too fast. The thing is, the devs had to figure out how to balance both your evasive cooldowns and your move cooldowns. Me personally, I just think that stun-based combat is just really outdated at this point. At least the fights feeling like you have to rely on your cooldowns too much. This is the main reason why people prefer Type Souls combat, and I agree with them, since Type Souls just feels more unique and more skill based, and feels like you don't have to rely on your cooldown so much. Another issue with Peroxide is the bugginess of the game. Clipping through the floor is very common during fights, which can lead you to being at a disadvantage. I also had a glitch where I immediately would get kicked out of the game for exploiting, which I wasn't, and this happened when I was first trying to load up the game and play for the first time, which was very irritating. Others have experienced this glitch as well too. This game isn't too well optimized, and I noticed tons of frame drops while I played, especially in Karakura Town. But I know over time a lot of the bugs and glitches will probably be fixed, since the devs are pretty quick to fixing things within the game and also listen to the community a lot. Exhibit C, is Peroxide pay to win? Peroxide does indeed have a cleanse system, but I say this game is very forgiving when it comes to spins, because they have dropped so many codes since release that damn near everyone is running around with legendary clans, res, volt standing, and bankais. They are just so easy to obtain, which can be a bad thing for some people, but I'd say just make everything balanced and it shouldn't even be a problem, which seems to be the case for Peroxide. For example, the music res is actually on par to something like Chaos, and music res, if you don't know, is actually a common and Chaos is actually a legendary. But with Peroxide, even the rares and commons are still viable, which I think is really cool. So I don't think that Peroxide is pay to win, honestly. Majority of the rare clans are pretty decent as well, but of course with the clans, most legendary ones are still the best. They even have an AFK world where you can sit around and just get product essences for free without even doing anything, and if you have Roblox Premium, you can obtain even more. Honestly, compared to Type Soul, Peroxide is a lot more free to play friendly, which I always support, because games like Type Soul take money away from people, and the rates are so bad that even when people do this, people are still not able to obtain what they want. But in Peroxide, this is not the case, so shout out to the devs. Exhibit D, is Peroxide the greatest Roblox Bleach game? Now it's time to answer that question. I believe that Peroxide will start to inspire Bleach devs to try a little harder on the progression side of things, since this game has given me the smoothest experience as far as PvE goes in Bleach games. I'm not a big Bleach fan, but I can see how people enjoy this game. It has elements that are familiar to other Bleach games, but also introduces unique mechanics as well, which is also greatly appreciated. Honestly, if I were to pick between this game and Type Soul, I'd probably pick Peroxide for the progression, but Type Soul for combat. But since I'm more of a PvE guy, I find myself enjoying Peroxide actually more than Type Soul, which honestly surprised me quite a bit. If Type Soul had a better progression system, I'd pick it no questions asked, since I prefer Type Soul's PvP by far. But I definitely think that this game is the best Bleach game that has come out thus far as progression goes. Hopefully, more Bleach games follow its example when it comes to spins and rates as well. If I were to give Peroxide a rating, I would give it a solid 8.5 out of 10 when compared to other Bleach games. But as I say in every video, if you guys enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more content like this one, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.